The year of the film is the 16th century. Tien, the youngest son of a wealthy family from the Ayutthaya dynasty, is introduced to us in the opening scene. Soldiers under the direction of Lord Rajasena are currently imprisoning him. Tien appears to be profoundly unconscious, and it takes several buckets of water being dumped in his face for him to awaken. He immediately notices a squad of soldiers brandishing heavy wooden staves. It becomes clear that Tien has received a verdict, and the soldiers are given orders to beat him up severely. Tien gathers all of his might as they prepare to start the surgery, and fights back with his expert maneuvers. He kills a lot of soldiers, but is ultimately overcome and knocked out. Rajasena then gives his troops the order to break Tien's elbows and knees. On the other hand, a disease outbreak is causing problems in the community of Kanakon. While a few patients are being treated by a local physician, the villagers maintain that the illness is a curse. In order to find a solution, a master by the name of Bua leads a Buddhist pilgrimage, where he learns that Bodhisankha, the dark mystic or the devil of darkness, is the origin of the curse. The evil force is then directed by Master Bua into a single leaf that lands in his hand. He makes the decision to become a monk, in order to combat the evil forces. As a result, Rajasena is also plagued by visions of the deceased king he poisoned to death. In order to get to the throne, Rajasena is tormented by these visions, and it becomes evident that the late monarch cursed him before he passed away. When Rajasena awakens later, around midnight, he finds a battle going on in his courtyard. It seems that a group of troops have arrived to free Tien from captivity, but just then, Budi appears out of nowhere, and kills each soldier one by one. Rajasena makes an offer to hire him, after observing his impressive combat prowess, in an effort to win his services. However, the dark mystic is thinking of something else. Instead, he advises lifting Rajasena's curse, implying a link between the curse and Tien. Instantly accepting it, the evil ruler commands his soldiers to kill Tien. An official pardon for Tien has been issued by the highest authority in the land. But just as the executioner is ready to begin, a messenger from the Ayutthaya kingdom shows up. Rajasena is thus forced to release his prized prisoner, which is not an option. A vivid hallucination strikes him as he yells in rage. Rajasena observes his warriors approaching him, as if to put him to death. This aggravates him to the point that he loses his composure, and murders one of his soldiers on the spur of the moment. Tien is hurried to Kanakon hamlet, in the interim to receive the required medical attention. Pim, his childhood sweetheart, is tasked with looking after him. However, before the recovery process can even get started, they are suddenly attacked by masked assassins dispatched by Rajasena. A violent altercation breaks out between the masked men and the royal couriers. As mayhem breaks out, the bad characters rapidly seize control and begin murdering the helpless individuals one by one. However, they are ultimately defeated when the messengers, who are still alive, band together and battle valiantly. Finally, the messengers are also killed along with all the masked men. The next image shows Tien resting on a stone bed with bandages covering his body, to show the extent of his wounds. Tien's current situation is a result of his bad karma from the past, says Master Bua after emerging from his meditative state. The entire village is then summoned by Master Bua, so that they can unite in prayer and bring Tien back to life. The procedure entails the construction of the revered Ong Bak Buddha statue, fervent prayers made to the gods, and the use of herbal treatments. Pim, who is motivated by her love and dedication for Tien, engages in a beautiful prayer dance in the midst of all these medical procedures, to ask for assistance in hastening his recovery. Thanks to their joint efforts, Tien is thankfully able to regain consciousness, but he is unable to stand up because of the savage beatings. Tien drags himself towards a nearby precipice at the crack of dawn. He feels psychologically and physically helpless, and wants to do the unspeakable, but at that very moment, Master Bua shows up and intervenes to stop him. He immediately chastises Tien for shirking his responsibility to save the kingdom and its citizens. He shifts his focus to the rising sun. After that, Master Bua imparts a valuable lesson to Tien by emphasizing that light is always present and ready to chase away the shadows, even in the most dire circumstances. As a result of hearing these remarks, Tien is inspired to live and changes his mind. He sets off on a difficult adventure starting that day. He drags his frail body to a deserted temple, hidden deep within the forest, where he starts taking self-medication, in an effort to stand up again. He also flexes his muscles and twists his bones. Tien's body progressively reacts as time goes on, regaining its stamina and toughness. Pim shows up at the temple one day to visit him. She says she was missing him a lot, and prayed for his recovery every day. Tien, who is overjoyed after hearing this, approaches her and requests a dance, and after their passionate exchange, they stand next to each other on a steep cliff. The next day, Master Bua goes up to Tien and explains the concepts of righteousness, merit, and upholding moral and religious commitments, as part of the Dharma. In light of this learning, Tien embarks on a transformational journey. He practices some spiritual dance routines and works on a unique fighting technique that combines dance and martial arts, and as the days go by, He develops into a powerful beast that can defeat anybody. In another scene, Rajasena travels to Booty's abandoned palace. In an effort to escape the curse that has befallen him, Booty, however, reveals his actual self and admits that he was the one who had been making him suffer all along. He also says that becoming the new king is his ultimate ambition. As soon as Rajasena learns of everything, he becomes furious and orders his soldiers to assassinate Booty. But despite the warriors' combined efforts, they fall short in the face of the powerful Black Mystic. Booty displays his exceptional fighting abilities by effortlessly dispatching each soldier in turn. When Rajasena is finally left alone, he grabs his bow and arrow and shoots the traitor. However, Booty approaches him first and beheads him before he can fire. Similar to what the previous king had done to Rajasena, the severed head curses Booty, but the evil mystic seems unfazed. Later, he takes the throne and takes over as ruler of the realm. Now that there is just one enemy left, Tien must be killed, so Booty sends his warriors to do so. The troop of soldiers unexpectedly approach Tien. While he is in the middle of his training that evening, they are driven by a desire to appease their new boss. By killing him, Tien, however, has other ideas. He kills the enemy soldiers one by one. With the aid of his new combat technique without even breaking a sweat, Tien seems to have at last achieved the art of the Dharma, through unwavering devotion and methodical practice. After that, Tien rushes to the village of Kanakone, where he is horrified to see that the once thriving community is now in ruins, its streets covered in the dead remains of the residents. Tien is mentally broken by the image, and he begins to cry like a baby. But once more, a new wave of enemy soldiers charge towards him, breaking up his peace. They are sure they can kill Tien. But little did they know that they are aware that they have provoked the world's fiercest warrior. Fueled by an intense desire, Tien uses his rage to exact revenge. By giving these troops a painful lesson, Tien performs a final rite to honor the lost villagers, and show respect to their lives once he has finished killing them. He then seeks advice from Master Bois after that. The latter offers him some words of encouragement, and presents him a magical stick that can drive out the evil. The stick, according to Master Bois, is the most potent weapon in existence and, when used correctly, can even call forth the gods. We discover that Pim and the remaining villagers have been sold into slavery. Elsewhere in Booty's country, they are required to perform labor under abhorrent conditions. The soldiers ruthlessly lash them with whips if they commit even the smallest mistake or appear exhausted. Even worse is the plight of the royal elephants. They are ruthlessly murdered so that Booty might drink their blood and bolster his own strength. Tien, meantime, makes his way to the kingdom with the intention of liberating his people and vanquishing the adversary. Booty, however, detects his presence and chooses to act. He summons an eclipse that casts the realm in complete darkness in a stunning display of strength and magic. The people are terrified as a result and kneel down to him. After realizing that he is no ordinary man, unfortunately, Booty discovers that Pim is Tien's lover. As a result, he seizes her and kills her. This is enough to drive Tien insane, and out of desperation, he launches a vicious assault on the guards. He then makes an attempt to murder Booty, but the evil mystic quickly flips the situation around, and drives a spear deep into Tien's chest, putting him in critical condition. As Tien's life ends, he recalls Master Bois' teachings, and all of a sudden, the conflict and Pim's tragic demise are seen to be illusions. Now that he has a second chance, Tien chooses to act differently. He summons thunder and strikes Booty. With the help of his magical stick, the eclipse eventually disappears as a result of this final stroke, which shatters the devil's powers, and represents the victory of light over darkness. Booty is unwilling to accept that his demonic abilities are slowly vanishing in front of his very eyes. When he awakens from the strike, soon after, Tien approaches him, starting the last fight between the two. We can see that Tien is not battling now out of rage, as he was in his delusion. Instead, he seems composed and intent on employing his most recent skill. Booty launches his spear, at one point in the struggle, aiming to finish off his adversary for good, but to his dismay, Tien manages to grab it using only his hands. The battle then continues for some time, and both of them eventually find themselves on the royal ledge above the arena. When it comes to fighting, they seem to be comparable, but Tien has a huge advantage when it comes to concentration. He deftly holds Booty up by his chin and drops him over an angry elephant after sensing the surroundings. Booty is finally killed when the animal's tusk fractures and fatally impales him. This puts an end to the conflict and frees the realm from evil once and for all. The treasured Ong Bak Buddha statue is honored by Tien, Pim, and the remaining villagers as the film comes to a close. They now have the opportunity to begin living a peaceful life, free from the influence of evil or curses. The end. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and like it to motivate me to bring you more stories like this.